Hello guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Cafe. This time around we're reviewing Avengers and X-Men AXIS 1, or basically Book 1, The Red Supremacy. Now this is the big crossover again this year with Avengers and X-Men, and basically if you did not read Uncanny Avengers 25, basically what happens is Magneto kills Red Skull. Red Skull, was using Xavier's powers because Xavier's dead. And by killing him, he unleashes the Red Onslaught. So Onslaught's back as the Red Onslaught. So basically, Red Skull version of the Onslaught. Before this book starts, it tells you what had happened to lead up to this, which was Cyclops couldn't control, obviously, the Phoenix. He kills Xavier and then becomes, obviously, hated and wanted not only by the X-Men, but, the world in general. To prove that, the mutants and humans could exist, they made the Uncanny Avengers team led by Havoc, basically, which was, of course, Avengers and, mutants together. And then, of course, Magneto and them get captured, and because Red Skull wanted to put a divide between humans and mutants, and he builds concentration camps, kind of like, his Nazi days in the island of Genosha, and, mutants like Rogue and Scarlet Witch and Magneto were there, and Magneto ultimately does his goal, and that was he kills Red Skull, unleashing, of course, Onslaught. So that's the start of this series. Now, this book has a lot of characters in it that make an appearance. Not all of them are in it for long. Of course, the main one would be Red Onslaught. Ahab's in it. Uncanny Avengers Unity Squad, which is Wasp, Sunfire, Scarlet Witch, Rogue, Havoc, Thor, and Steve Rogers, of course, formerly Captain America, but now he's really old, and he doesn't have the super serum anymore. So the Avengers are now led by the new Captain America, which is Falcon, Iron Man, Vision, Hulk, Hawkeye, Doctor Strange, Black Widow, Luke Cage, Sunspot, Cannonball, Hyperon, and the X-Men are, Professor X, of course, is deceased because he is part of the story. Cyclops, Magneto, Quentin Quire, Genesis, which of course is basically the young version of Apocalypse, Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Angel, Beast, Iceman, Cyclops, Kitty Pryde, Jean Grey, and then just to round up the other people that make an appearance, Nomad, Medusa, Nova, Iron Fist, and Invisible Woman. This is all the people that are going to be involved in this situation, this series. And I don't think that if they are all in the book, you don't notice them all, but there are a lot of characters in the book. So basically, this book has a lot of things going on, but the main part of it is, of course, Red Onslaught is the main enemy. But the book doesn't necessarily start off that way. So Red Onslaught's the main enemy. He's trying to spread hate, and at the site of where he was unleashed, a fight goes on, obviously. It's, Rogue, Scarlet Witch is there, Magneto, and, so Red Onslaught's trying to spread hate to the Uncanny Avengers are there, Havoc and stuff, like trying to make Havoc realize, let out his hate, his mistakes, his secret, which was, of course, that Havoc, and of course, significant other, had a child in the future that Kang believed killed to save all the children in the timeline, and she's gone, and he brings out to try to get out Havoc's hate. He ultimately does turn Scarlet Witch for a little bit with the hate about her dad and all the other stuff in her, and basically Onslaught's trying to cause hate, and it's not just with the Avengers. All these things show up worldwide to make people, hate and cause world war hate. Now, on the Avengers side, with Iron Man and Captain America and stuff, to begin this book off with them, they run into an enemy you're probably never going to think of. Plant Man. That's right. Plant Man. But why fighting Plant Man? The hate of the psychic hate thing hits them, and they are kind of infighting. Captain America with Vision, the new Captain America. Of course, Hulk goes after Iron Man because the original Sin stuff that Hulk found out about. And ultimately, Iron Man, because he has a suit and put a psychic dampener, he eventually uses the thing to spread, his burst out, and ultimately, all the Avengers come out of the rage they're in. Hulk apologizes, Iron Man go, all of them quit fighting. Now, going back to Genesaw, a fight goes on there. Magneto and all of them try to fight. Havoc's like a main tragedy character in this book. You see, all the tragedy that's happened to him, and how it's so easy for him to give into the hate, and he does give into the hate for a little bit. A lot of different characters do and don't. A big kind of battle with, or trying to battle with Onslaught. He knows that you have to knock out Onslaught now. If they don't, it's going to be their only chance, kind of thing. Now, as this all goes on, basically with this book and all the different characters, Rogue and stuff, we get a kind of surprise. And the first one's with Havoc, where Xavier makes an appearance in his mind. Basically saying, don't let this be my legacy. You have to stop Red Onslaught. And Havoc doesn't kind of listen to it too much. Really not. It doesn't seem like it. He then goes to Rogue. Don't let this be my legacy. I'm not going to be able to, hold out much longer. You need to stop. This cannot be my legacy. And so, this fight ensues. You see the world's, kind of giving into the hate. Steve Rogers, you realize he's seen this hate before in Red Skull kind of thing. But as the book leads on, you get into, okay, here are the, the Uncanny Avengers. And then eventually, the Avengers show up there. And then the X-Men show up there. All to fight Onslaught. So basically that's what they lead into, but Ahab shows up. Ahab, of course, traveling the timeline, hunting basically, like Cyclops, Summers, right? Hunting the Summers. And he's after Havoc, but he severely, I don't think he kills him, but he severely hurts Genesis, Apocalypse, the younger version of Apocalypse, and he's going to take out Havoc, of course, but Cyclops is, he's in prison. He gets out and gets hit with, takes the thing for his brother in the arm, but in the big fight with Ahab ensues, and he doesn't do his goal, basically hurting Summers, at least not in this issue. So there's kind of like two enemies going on here with Ahab, and then the kind of a side enemy is Ahab, and then of course the Red Onslaught. But ultimately, a big battle is getting ready to ensue with Onslaught, and that's basically the book. A lot of build-up, obviously the first issue, a lot of build-up. Wasn't like incredibly boring, but you don't see the real scope of this. Now, if you've seen the covers to like Access Resolution for one, for example, which comes out in later this month, you know that this isn't going to just be a Onslaught. He's going to get. They show Magneto on the cover, like on his side. They have it divided where the X-Men Avengers on one side and the other shows like Magneto. I guess he joins the side. They show Carnage. They show Doctor Doom. So we'll see how big this event is, and will Onslaught get all these like Carnage main villains with him, and how big of an event this is going to be. Just thought it would be Red Onslaught, but maybe it's not going to be. But again, a nice start to the series. Again, gets all the main, obviously Avengers and X-Men together to start off. And we'll see where it goes. Again, Onslaught is a major villain, and they're treating him like a major villain, and they're treating him like he's not a pushover, which is very important. So, what do you think of this book? What do you think about all these characters being in it, and how do you think this is going to play out? Again, what is the after? Like, one of the interesting things about this book was the fact they actually referenced Civil War in this book, with Onslaught talking about how he got all the files that Tony Stark made, Civil War files of all the like trying to turn people against him, the heroes, Avengers and X-Men stuff, and their weaknesses, and how he's going to use that all against them, kind of thing. So, kind of referencing to another crossover, which is kind of cool. But what do you think of this book overall? Pretty good book. Again, a good start. Wasn't as slow as some of the other, like Age of Ultron started really slow, and other crossovers Marvel did. I actually liked reading it, and we'll see again. We'll see what like one of the things is the first issue. We'll see what the you know, interpersonal things that come out of this and the effects in the Marvel universe, which to me is my big thing. If you're gonna have a crossover, there has to be some lasting effect, something that. And I'm not exactly, honestly, I'm not a really keen on this. Every year we had to have a crossover thing. They really don't need. They really should like make it special. By doing one all the time, it kind of loses its speciality. So, what do you think about this? The first issue of this, and are you excited for it? What do you hope to happen in this series? Anyway, overall, a pretty decent book. You're not going to go wrong with it. Depending on what your favorite character is, maybe your favorite character is not featured, so you may not, that part you may not like. But overall, a pretty decent book. Anyway, talk to you guys later.